One, it's great to be here again for another art exhibition, and it's always good to talk about art and meet new people, interact with the work. Hi, Louis.
Hi. Hi.
One, I've had a chance to see your work when they sent me the more like the catalog of what was going to be on showcase, and I think when you're looking at the work in pictures, you do not get a chance to appreciate it as much as when you look at the work physically. So when I looked at the work physically today when I came in, there were more details that I did not see when I just received the pictures, and one amazing exhibition.
Thank you very much.
One, I think to dive right into it, I think one of the very first things that fascinated me, your title, Scars. Can you help us unpack scars? What does it mean?
Okay. First of all, before I start to talk about scars, whether they're real, whether they're imagined, I would like to say thank you all so much for coming, for joining us today. For me, it's a dream come true to actually have a solo exhibition in Kampala. It's like a homecoming for me. And what better way to have a homecoming and being joined by people who I hold very dear to my heart, like Member of Parliament Betty Aol Otan, who I call Mommy, who's been my mentor and someone I stay and live with when I'm in northern Uganda. And it's also beautiful that my family is also here to join me. The ones that are sitting on the side there, that's my brother, my sister, my nieces, and my nephew. It's so wonderful to have my guests from Austria as well. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Thank you for coming. And we do a project together for youth in northern Uganda. And most importantly, also, I'd like to thank Dorothy and Samson for giving me this opportunity. We've worked together, and this is the second phase of our partnership, and it's a dream come true for me to be here. I really thank you. And also, my personal assistant, Brenda, my studio assistant is also here. They all supported me in putting all this work together. And also Piloya, Irene, she had a show here before my show, and she curated the show. She did such an amazing job. So just to open up that is to just thank everybody and everyone who's here. Thank you so much. Yeah, about scars. This is a topic that I started work, we cannot see. And it was important for me to start with scars of the family, whereby unpacking those told truths and untold truths. I'm sure each and every one of us in our families, we have those told truths and untold truths. And the exhibition of the scars is also about critical thinking. It's about consciousness. It's about perceptions. So when the viewer interacts with the work, that was one of the intentions, to provoke you to ask those questions. And materiality was also very important, is important in my work, in the sense that even when you look at the back of the tree, that's scarring the tree. And when you go through the exhibition, you will also come in contact with objects and installations that will make you to ask, deeper questions. What does it mean, to have a broom in the room? So this is the journey of my story, my people, talking about migration, and of course starting with my father, and also his tribe or his clan, the way we migrated all the way from south of Sudan to Uganda, to north of Uganda, south of Uganda, the Japadolas, part of my clan, and Luos in Kenya, Luos in Ethiopia, and Luos in parts of Congo as well, and in Tanzania. So it's also about, you know, a people's history and the journey that they took. So for me, even just having planned to come and have an exhibition here, I got a studio in northern Uganda where I also have an organization called GAICO, which some of the GAICO members are here from Vienna, where we work with young people to work on positive mindset change and to unlock their potential so that they can live in line with their dreams and their wishes. So it was also a wish for me to actually go back to the roots of and tracing the roots of my people and work from there. So in the work you will actually see that I used, I'll talk about that. And also soil from the north, you know, tracing the roots of my people. Yeah.
Oh, that's quite amazing. So, in your perspective, are you talking about scars as a positive thing, or as a positive thing that's part of the story, or as something that part of history you want to hide away?
So with the scars, it morphs more, more than just a history. It morphs into evoking or challenging the viewer to ask deeper questions about, you know, what they see in terms of, you know, the object, the art pieces. What is it that you see? What emotions are showing up for you, you know? So asking those questions like, oh, this is interesting, yes? And then, of course, for me, with the scars and with the works, there's a lot of metaphor in there. So, and there's a lot of symbolism. So this comes out in form of, you know, that object. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question.
I actually get it.
Yeah. And the scars can also be physical.
Okay.
And metaphysical as well. Yeah.
Metaphysical.
Yeah. Oh. That which you cannot see with your naked eye, however it exists.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about the materials. Earlier on you talked about the materials and you unpack quite a lot. Tell me a little about your use of backcloth, because it's very present in many of your works. Are you using it for a message, or you're using it as canvas?
Right. I first came, well, I've been seeing backcloth because, you know, being an artist, you go for so many exhibitions and you see and are inspired by other artists and what they use. And for me, it was very intriguing to see artists using, you know, the backcloth, especially artists from Uganda. And I recently was in an art residency in Ghana with some of my colleagues. One of them is right there, King Kudo, and Tina just left. And after the residency, we all had an exhibition, and Tina was using the backcloth for her work. And she's mentored by Colin Sekajugo, also a famous Ugandan artist who I really admire, who was at the Biennale. And so I borrowed a bit of backcloth from Tina, because we were all sharing a studio, and used it as a collage in my work. And then when we were done with the residency, Tina had, you know, left over from the backcloth. So she gave it to me, and I took it with me to Vienna and worked with it in my studio and fell in love with the material. So apart from its functionality as a material, I also, you know, went, because my work also involves a lot of research. Okay, what is it about the backcloth? So the backcloth in different cultures is used for different things, and the Baganda used it for, you know, wrapping the dead bodies. and also, with other functions. So for me, it became a symbol of the twin law of life, which is the other, the death. So it's also a symbol of tradition, of culture, of also ritual. Yeah, because there's also ritual that's involved in it. So I integrated that backcloth into the work, yes. And I think this is something that I'll continue using for a long time because it's very intriguing to work with it.
Just tell me about your experience working with it.
Apart from its aesthetics, in terms of how it looks, it's also, how can I say, it's something that's easy to work with.
Oh.
And once you put it on the canvas, also it has a certain, how can I say, look to it, the aesthetic. Yeah. And the meaning that I apply to it is much more important. Yeah. I'm sure you all have your own take on what it means. Yeah.
Actually, it represents more than death, though. Yeah. I also noticed you use kitenge.
Yeah.
What was the message behind that? Because it also appears quite a lot.
Yeah. So in Uganda we call it kitenge, and in Tanzania and in Kenya it's called kanga. Yeah, and the kitenge or the kanga is something that I grew up with, or that we grew up with. So the kanga comes with a lot of history, and also social and political history to it. And I was carried in a kanga, and so for me, the kitenge or the kanga, the historical connotation was very important. However, in this particular case, it was the kitenge that belonged to my mother, kitenges that belonged to my mother. So, and the exhibition is also about, the story of my father, my parents. So when you look at the masks that are made out of paper mache, those are the silhouettes of my father and my mother.
Oh.
And so the kitenge is actually belonged to my mom, and she had held on to them for so many years. So it's about memory as well. And since she passed away 2 years ago, I wanted to bring her into the conversation. So that's, it symbolizes memory also, and also bringing that DNA into the works, yes. And also the hands that you see on some of the objects, hands of my brothers and sisters. And and so when she passed away 2 years ago, it was the first time that her children came together in 30 years. Since we live in different parts of the world, it was almost impossible for us to be in the same space at the same time. So when she passed away, I remember very vividly how we all held hands at her grave. So I wanted to bring that memory into the work. So the hands that you see are of the siblings, how we were holding hands. So family scars, we're still scarred with her loss.
Wow, that's really deep. Still about the elements. I was very much also intrigued about when you talked about you used soil.
Yeah.
And then there is cow dung.
Elephant.
Elephant dung.
Yeah.
Why elephant dung, and still for an artist, how was the process of working with dung?
They want to know the whole story. And it all started as a class project when I was still a student at the Fine Arts Academy, University of Vienna. And we were doing a project about shit, to be sincere.
Oh, okay.
And so I brought about the idea of, what it means, what the elephant dung means for us. So it was quite interesting how, my student assistants were really pounding on this material. So the elephant dung, apart from that, of course, it represents, how can I say, culture. It represents a people's social political identity. So it's also about identity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How does it react to the canvas?
It's very intriguing actually to work with elephant dung as a material, apart from its metaphoric and its yeah. There's I don't know. I don't know whether you can call it the sacred or spiritual about it.
Okay.
Yeah. There's that feel that you get, that I get when I work with that material. And even when I mix it with pigment and put it on canvas, it also has, that texture, and that texture brings out something that you cannot even explain in words. Yes.
Oh.
So those who have been in my studio, you can tell it's like a laboratory, right, Camille? Yeah.
So just a bit in the process. Does it have to dry and it becomes powder? What exactly happens?
Okay, so the process is this. I get the shit usually from the zoo. I buy it, and then I mix it with sand, natural sand, and then dry it naturally. So then it stays even for years. Then I just take what I need and grind it into powder, and then use it.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know whether that makes sense. Although I don't invite people to my studio when the dye is still fresh.
I would definitely also love to visit the studio when.
Yeah.
Well, before I invite the audience, just tell us something about the installation, because I saw it's interactive.
Yeah, so with the installation that you will see upstairs, it's we also wanted, or rather, it was important for me to bring the aspect of spirituality, so to speak, and to create somewhat of a shrine, such that it would be possible to invite you as a viewer to interact with the work. So the hands that you see on that net, so the net also symbolizes what we could say security, like, you feel that you're secure under a net. However, are you really secure under a net? So inviting the viewers to also just feel the hand, like, would you fit in this glove, right? And then afterwards, you're invited to enter the space and share your feelings with us, share your thoughts with us. So there's paper and pen on the side. So we invite you to share the feeling with us, and any suggestions, comment, whatever. And then, Baba, welcome. Oh my God, what an honor. Baba Luku in the house. Yeah, so then it's not necessary for you to leave your name. After you finished sharing your thoughts, your feelings, the emotions are very important. It's nice to see how you feel. And to know that you're not alone in that feeling with the thoughts of your family and the scars that you have. And so after writing that, then we invite you to take the piece of paper and put it in the cloth on the side that looks like an offering. So it's like, you're offering it. And then after that, after the exhibition ends at the end of December, we're going to definitely archive the writings.
Okay.
And then we will take everything and burn it.
Oh.
And so we'll release that into the universe. Why do I say that? I say that because in what we do, even with the youth in northern Uganda, we have sessions or rituals which we do every end of the year, where we forgive, we let go. So we write, and then we burn, and then we release. So this is also that I invite everybody to, yeah.
Are the hands on the net, like, are they from specific people you might know, or they're just hands?
All the hands that you see there are from my family. Some of them are seated over there. Yeah, so it's very rare for us as a family, because we were 26 children in the family of my father. Now we are 25 living. So whenever I get a chance to be with my family, brothers, sisters, nephews, and nieces, I trace their hands. So the hands that you see there are all my brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces, and in-laws. Yeah, so it's my family. They are also in the conversation.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
It's quite a very deep exhibition, but I would like to open it up to anyone that could be having a question or anything to say.
I promise I won't be able to answer everything.
We are here just to celebrate you,
Thank you.
and I should congratulate you. It's never easy because many of us have been abused. We have scars all over, we've been bruised. But in Africa, it's more, I would say in Uganda, or maybe in Uganda, it's more of a sign of decency to keep quiet or to keep silent. It's more of a definition of the virtues and values as an African. I'm curious to know how you embarked on this journey to open up and tell a story, because we constantly curate these narratives and end up kind of gentrifying them. I'm curious to know how you've kept it original, and how that, what does that does to you as to your mental wellness and to your constant, interrogation of those narratives. Because personally, I love memories. I feed on memories, and I think it kind of informs my curatorial philosophy and approach to all exhibitions that I do. And I'm deeply connected to this. I feel your attachment. Yeah. Then the other one.
So what was the first question again? You don't have to go back, just in a nutshell. What was the question?
How do you interrogate these memories without losing the gist of the original story, to put it in simple terms? Then the other one, why did you translate the titles? Because I just feel like the material itself is a constant interrogation of the title, and personally I feel like the material is a description of the title in some way, and a description of the entire process. So I'm curious to know whether the translations actually easily or directly mean the actual native words, and whether they add to the meaning or to the value of the original word or not, in your view. Because personally, I just love the native words, and I would love to struggle with them. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other question? Then I can answer them all at once. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to commend you for your preservation of heritage as an artist. And my question is, why you chose to purpose your art in speaking to sustainability at a time when it is very important, especially spotlighting it on backcloth as a material, and just how much more it can do beyond what people have termed it to be, a material for burials and stuff like that. How do you alight your career to speak to topics like sustainability?
It's a good one. Okay, I promise I won't be able to answer those questions like maybe you expected. However, I'll try my best. Yes, with the first question about truth and untold truth. This also came from experiential knowledge in terms of my work also centering on consciousness and spirituality. I also had to go through that process of, how can I say, forgiveness and letting go before even it finding its way into my work, which means that there's also a certain element of healing that was and is very important. I don't know if that answers your question. So it comes from a space of, experiential knowledge. And then about titling the works, this is something I never really gave it much thought in terms of why should I translate it in English or in any other language. Well, what I've always done is that when processing the works, apart from the research and putting in the titles, I always go into a language that I can use to interpret what I wanted to say. So it's either in Luo, and when I cannot find the Luo word for it, I translate it into Swahili. So my titles are usually in Luo or Swahili. And I always thought that it's also easy to invite others to think about it in their own language and also in English, which is also a language that I speak. So I never really gave it much thought as in, why not just leave it in Luo? Why not just leave it in Swahili? However, this is something, now you've challenged me to do the critical thinking. So this is something that I might, put into consideration at a later date. And then you asked me about sustainability. Wow, that's a tough one. With the back, I can say that it's still at its experimental stage, since I only just started working with it this year. And there's a room for more exploration. And there's room for more research. So hopefully when I get there, I'll be able to answer your question. Yeah. Yeah. So, is there any other question? Okay. I don't know if that answers your question. Really? Sorry.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My question is, what are the source of inspiration? What's your work?
Oh wow.
Source of inspiration, what's your work? And another question, was why you chose the theme for your work?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. My inspiration actually comes from somewhere that's very deep. Because I have a certain practice which I've been doing since 25 years, which is every morning when I wake up, I do my prayer, deep contemplation, and go into meditation. So inspiration for me comes from somewhere deep within. Inspiration comes from the subconscious mind. And also being an artist, it's a matter of interacting with other artists. Inspiration can come from a conversation. Inspiration comes from just what is taking place in the world at this particular time and moment. It can be political, it can be social, So I drew my inspiration from almost everywhere. Interaction with people, then I get inspired. A topic will come from there, and then I will address it, And also from other artists as well who I admire a lot, like Chris O'Feely, who works with Elephant Dan, So let's not go any more questions?
Do you have more questions?
Or compliments? Which one? Oh, sorry.
The question.
Oh, why I chose the theme.
Why you chose the theme?
Yeah. It's were you here in the beginning when we started? Were you here in the beginning? Anyway, why I chose the topic scars. Since the beginning of this year, I decided to work on the theme of scars. And scars meaning the social, the political, the existing scars that are physical and non-physical as well. And then having this exhibition in Uganda, I started with the family scars, looking at the story and the journey of my father, of my family, the migration of our people, the scars that we carry until today, as a people, as a family, as an individual. So that informed the topic of the exhibition. Does that make sense? Okay.
So anyway, so you just said you started with the family scars. Are there other scars you'll be attempting in the future?
Yes, it's going to be an ongoing project. Yeah, that topic is, I've only just started scratching the surface. Because I had one in Ghana, it was about scars as well, scar faces. And this is family scars, a man's search for his soul, and it's going to be a continuous process. Yeah.
What are the others?
Hmm?
What are the others?
They're yet to be birthed. Last.
Thank you very much. Still about material. I would love you to talk about the tea bags.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, so when you come across the works in there, you'll see the masks of my parents, as in silhouettes of my parents. And usually when I travel, I drink a lot of tea, also in my studio in Vienna. So, and that answers your question about sustainability. So instead of throwing the tea bags away, I usually use them as a collage on the pieces. And also it has a political connotation. If you know about the people who work in tea plantations and the challenges that they go through. So it's also a political statement. Yeah.
All right. Since that was the last question, one, I'll leave it at that. One, I think every one of you, if you've not, you should get in and see the exhibition. It's quite a very deep one. That's what I think. Because I think as a journalist, one of the challenges I used to have with artists at times was them not being able to talk about their work in a convincing way. And I think you actually understand your work, which is really amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
One, get in and see the work. Thank you very much.
And write something.
Probably and write something. Write something. You should interact with the installation because I believe it's also a very deep one. Edgar, it's good to see you.
Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Samson. Thank you all for being here. I love you all. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, please go back in.